My name is Jake Hilty, and welcome to my video about Death Stranding. Death Stranding is a 2019 action game produced by Kojima Productions wherein you play as Sam Porter Bridges, a porter who transports goods across the post-apocalyptic wasteland of America after the eponymous event, the Death Stranding, has taken place. With the cycle of life and death having been upended, the US is now mostly a desolate wasteland full of horrifying supernatural creatures and phenomena, the few survivors forced to stay in their bunkers for fear of all the threats outside. As a porter, your job is to transport a wide variety of items across the wasteland to various survivors, all while managing the balance of said items, environmental conditions, time constraints, enemies, and more. Surprisingly, despite the fact that you never directly interact with other players in this game, Death Stranding is a cooperative multiplayer game. Almost everything you do in this game can help others in some way, and considering how dead enemies cause complications, how player interactions are done, and how the game prioritizes delivering items over combat, Death Stranding transformatively paints a picture of what games can be when not built through the lens of combat, conflict, and competition. All in all, Death Stranding puts a lot of work into promoting collaboration, and players are highly likely to come away from this game with a strengthened sense of camaraderie with their fellow players, as well as a better understanding of the value of altruism and collaboration. Going forward in this video, I'll be breaking down some of the ways Death Stranding pushes players to cooperate, help each other, and see things in a more collaborative light so that it's abundantly clear how transformative Death Stranding is for the social experiences players have in games. Death Stranding is unique in that it is the first Strand-Type game, a term first coined by Hideo Kojima. With few Strand-Type games existing, the definition of what exactly a Strand-Type game is still somewhat unclear, but it's essentially a genre of games that feature and emphasize asynchronous multiplayer elements. One of the key things to note about the Strand-Type game is that a lot of what it is derives from Kojima's perspective on the stick and the rope. These two terms are originally taken from short stories by Kobo Abe, the Japanese writer, playwright, and director, and refer to what are supposed to be the first two tools created by humanity. The stick was the first tool and created so you can put distance between yourself and bad things, to protect yourself. The second tool was the rope, and it was created to secure things important to you. In most games, the tools you have represent sticks, punching, kicking, shooting, slashing, etc. The rope is far less represented in games, however, and in making Death Stranding, Kojima wanted to create a game that connected people through the equivalent of ropes rather than the usual sticks you'd get. Death Stranding might be the first true Strand-Type game, but there are some other games out there with asynchronous multiplayer elements. In Elden Ring, you have the ability to lay down messages that other players can read, and while many of them will be jokes or trolling attempts, you might occasionally find tips or warnings that can help you deal with the challenges ahead. Dragon's Dogma also has an asynchronous multiplayer element in the pawns that the player can recruit, which are NPC companions that can be customized, geared up, and then sent out for other players to rent, providing them with some assistance should they opt for it. One aspect of Death Stranding that strongly pushes players towards collaboration is how structures and items work in the game. If you drop items, abandon your vehicle, or place structures, other players may eventually have these items appear in their world. They may be damaged or have no power, but they can still easily get you out of a bad situation if you get lucky enough to find them in your time of need. This mechanic changes the context of abandoning items and changes things from "I'm getting rid of this" to "maybe someone else could use this." Another aspect that promotes collaboration is the like system. Whenever you complete jobs, help out others, or perform certain actions, you receive likes. Likes don't grant a reward or power increase, like currency or weapons, but rather increase your connection with other players, resulting in you seeing more of their things and vice versa. These likes can come from NPCs and other players, and subtly promote positive behavior by rewarding players when they help someone out. On the flip side, it's a great feeling when you get the notification that someone used and liked your leftover gear. What might start as a desire to maximize likes for the extrinsic benefits can easily turn into an earnest desire to help random strangers when the game makes it so easy to do so. The third aspect that helps promote collaboration and camaraderie is the share locker. In each distribution center or safe house is a share locker. Players can place items of all kinds in this locker, and they'll be free for any other player who visits that location to take. This mechanic also strongly promotes collaboration because it allows players to effortlessly help others and also receive help as needed. Yet another aspect that changes the way players engage with conflict is how death is handled in the game. Due to his unique abilities, when Sam dies, he's able to return to the world of the living. While you can respawn an unlimited number of times, each time you die, a massive explosion called a void out leaves a crater where you died. You can't travel through this crater, and so it can easily become a major obstacle if it ends up blocking the routes you use. This mechanic, minus the returning part, also applies to enemies, and any enemies that are killed will have to be carried to an incinerator and burned within 30 minutes, or else they'll each cause a void out as well. Sounds straightforward, but there's only one incinerator on each map in a set location, and it can often be in a long trek back. So it's usually worthwhile to invest in non-lethal options or simply avoid enemies outright. Overall, this system greatly incentivizes players to use non-lethal options or avoid enemies when they can, even if they have the means to fight them directly. In addition to the systems and mechanics to help promote collaboration, the overall narrative of Death Stranding promotes it as well. The protagonist, Sam Porter Bridges, is a lone wolf, and at the beginning of the game operates alone, doesn't like being touched, and is quite distant from every other character. Through the course of the game, Sam slowly warms up to the people around him and becomes noticeably friendlier with others. Most of the game involves delivering packages to isolated and lonely people across America, connecting with them while literally connecting them to the United Cities of America. All of the game's mechanics and narrative themes converge on this theme of connection, and it's hard to avoid feeling like you've made some connections with other characters by the end of the game. Death Stranding successfully shifted the paradigm on social interactions in games by providing a model for what games could look like when collaboration, cooperation, and unity are their core values rather than conflict, combat, and competition. With so many interacting systems tailored to push players towards collaboration, a sense of camaraderie amongst players comes easily, and it's not hard to find yourself staying up late collecting resources to help others build structures or items when you really should have gone to bed an hour ago. In a time when we as people are so disconnected from each other, games with the themes of Death Stranding can help serve as a tool to remind us how good it is to help each other out.